What is up, football fans? Happy Thanksgiving. This is our Thanksgiving preview. Thanksgiving is tomorrow as you're listening to this. We're recording this on Monday, November 24th. So if there's any injury news before these games start, we have no idea what's happening. But it's Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving preview, one of the best weeks in football all season long because you get Thanksgiving football all day long. And then the next day you get more football. And then Saturday's rivalry week for college football. It's a great weekend of football, Thanksgiving week. Can't wait to get into it on today's episode of Play Action Takes, Apollo Media's NFL podcast. This is the Week 13 preview brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang over here. Zang responsibly all season long, and especially on Thanksgiving. Wake up, get your morning coffee in, ease into the day, and before that first game starts, pour yourself some Blazing Bloody Mary mix from Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. And shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Win some money with us on Thanksgiving and all NFL season long with Underdog Fantasy using promo code PATNFL. Use our promo code to play your first $5 and get $100 in bonus entries using promo code PATNFL with Underdog Fantasy. Thank you for sponsoring this episode. I'm your host, Stone Strankman, joined always by Kush Patel. How we doing, brother?
We're doing great. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, all the families, friends. Let's have a great time. Watch some great football and eat all the food you can, and take a nap before that primetime 7 o'clock game.
Yeah, it's a really good slate of Thanksgiving games. I know for years and years and years we had the Lions on, and we were just like, why do we keep doing this? Why do the Lions keep going on? And then the Cowboys were pretty rough there for a little bit, especially last year. It's like, can we just get some new teams in here and just kind of start some new traditions? But we're back on to traditions being kind of good now. First game, Packers and Lions. It's going to be a fun game. I'm excited for it because this is a big game for the Lions. It's a big game for the Packers. They're one game apart right now in the standings. The Packers are 7-3-1, and the Lions are 7-4. It's going to be a fun one. I'm excited about it. The Lions are favored by 2.5 points heading into this, and you can put that money on Underdog and win some money with promo code PATNFL if you want to hit the Lions at -2.5. Last week was an incredibly crazy game for the Lions and kind of a stinker for the Packers. What do you think about this game on a short week on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I think this is going to end up being a very important game for both teams. The Packers are kind of on a little tiny, minuscule slide right now,
Mm-hmm.
and the Lions kind of have been too. But yeah, both of these teams are fighting for the division crown, and this is a better division than a lot of people thought it would be, especially with the Bears resurgence, with them playing well. Shout out to them in Chicago. But yeah, I think whoever wins this game is it's this division is just so stacked in that all three of these teams have played well, and they've played not so well at times. So I just I don't know what to expect out of this game. I don't know what Jordan Love we're gonna get.
No.
I don't know what Lions offense we're gonna get. It was kind of a little controversy a couple weeks ago where they go 0 for on fourth down. Are we gonna get a repeat of that? Are they gonna be way better on fourth down in this game? Because you already know Dan Campbell's gonna go for it on fourth down any chance he gets.
Yeah, and they're in a slog fest against the Giants. Like, Giants had that kind of in the bag, and then the fourth quarter they just couldn't score, and Jahmyr Gibbs just started doing 60-yard, 70, 80-yard touchdowns just back to back to back, like put up 60-something points in fantasy this week. Like, absolutely insane from Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the most fun players to watch with the ball in his hands, arguably. Like, him and Jonathan Taylor have been insane this year. Jahmyr Gibbs has been great. Jared Goff did just enough to get that win, and you're kind of looking at it. I mean, it's a home game against a division opponent where you did not look good against them in what was it, week 1? Like, you got to win this one. Keep your hopes alive for a division where the Bears are winning all these games right now. Obviously, they were the third or fourth team in the division last year, so they have a little bit easier schedule than the Lions do at the top seed. So, yeah, it's a big game for both teams, and I'm excited for this one. It's going to be a fun one to start off Thanksgiving. Like, my egg bowl doesn't start until Friday morning at 11 a.m., so I don't have to be like panicking all day long watching the NFL this year. And last year they switched it over to Black Friday, so I get to actually enjoy it and consume football without any worries. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, Lions Packers is a really fun one to get started. I'm gonna take the Lions because I don't know if anyone can stop Jahmyr Gibbs right now. They just give him the ball and he just scores. It's crazy every single time.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards the Lions too. I just don't know what Jordan Love we're gonna get, and not only
Yeah.
that, I just don't know what Packers offense we're gonna get because, you know, to start the year they looked like the best offense ever, and they looked really good. Matt LaFleur was our coach of the year, like bar none, he's gonna win coach of the year. Tucker Craft goes down, and then they start struggling on offense, and so can they against this defense kind of find their offensive rhythm again?
Yeah, and then Josh Jacobs goes down, but then you get Christian Watson back, who scores 2 touchdowns last week, and yeah, the Packers are the most confusing team because you think they just don't have a guy in the receiving core that the quarterback is just like, yes, that's my guy. If no one else is open, I'll just chunk it towards him and he'll make a play and it'll be fine. And maybe Christian Watson's the guy. Maybe it is now that you got him back and Jordan Love can trust him without Kraft in there and without Jacobs in there. It's just a wonky team, and I don't know what to expect from them. And I also don't know what to expect with the Lions. Like the Lions very much should have lost last week against the Giants, and they squeaked it out because Jahmyr Gibbs went hero ball on everybody. So it's going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be really tight. I think that 2.5 line might be even too big. It should be maybe 1.5. Like I think this is just a kind of a pick 'em, and the Lions are at home, but it's Thanksgiving. Anything can happen. I hope we get a really good turkey feast from any of these playmakers. Like I would expect a big game from somebody on either end, and I'm just going to go. I'm going to trust my gut. It's Jahmyr Gibbs. He's just going to keep doing things that we don't see in the NFL very often anymore.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is ridiculous, and it's going to be a fun to watch him on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm excited. Lions Packers next game, Chiefs and Cowboys. Must win game for both teams at this point. The Chiefs are favored by 3 points in Jerry World. The Cowboys just had a great win against the Eagles. The Chiefs just had a great win against the Colts. They're both very much still alive in the playoff race. It's a must-win game for both teams at the end of the day. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, this is another game that's important for both teams. With the Cowboys beating the Eagles this past week, that makes this game even that much bigger for their playoff aspirations, if we can call them that. Like, are they dead yet? We don't know. We'll find out. And then for the Chiefs, um, that Colts win kind of, you know, I think if they would have lost to the Colts, I would have been out on the Chiefs, but they got the win. They need another win on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys, and I think it's going to be tough for the Chiefs to get anything offensive going because of the Trey Smith injury. I expect the defensive line for the Cowboys to kind of take advantage of that. You know, the Cowboys secondary hasn't really been able to really shut anybody down or stop guys. So I feel like this might be a game where game plan wise for the Chiefs, just give it to Patrick Mahomes, let him go outside the pocket and launch that ball down the field.
Yeah, because I mean, we saw last week with the Cowboys, they only gave up 22 rushing yards to Saquon Barkley. They only had, I think, gave up 60 yards total on the ground. Like, that's a huge step because the Colts gave up 130 to Kareem Hunt. If they can shut down the run and just make them pass the entire time, at the end of the day, they might be able to get to the quarterback. But on the other end of the field, the Chiefs defense was really good against the Colts. They were getting to the quarterback time and time again. They shut down Jonathan Taylor. It's like this might be a defensive matchup somehow, some way, where we're looking at both of these teams and we're like, I don't know how good their defenses are. And now we're here. And the defenses might be the best part of this game. And we'll see. Obviously, it's Dak versus Patrick Mahomes. It should be a fun game. I hope it's an offensive game and it's a more entertaining one with the halftime show and the later afternoon game. But I'm excited about it. It should be a good one. I'm going to be full almost nap time at that point, probably. Like that's going to be just post Thanksgiving lunch. We're a late lunch kind of family where it's like 1 or 2. And this game's kind of like early in the afternoon, right? It's a 3:30 game, so yeah, it might be a tough one for me to make it through all of this game without taking a nap. But maybe it's a halftime show nap. I get the 20 minutes and I'm back in it. But I'm excited about it. I will be zanged out of my mind at that point too. It's 3:30, so we'll have to see what happens. But I'm excited about this game. Obviously, I love the Cowboys because of Dak, but they keep doing things. George Pickens is really fun, and then Rashee Rice, welcome back to the NFL again. You had one good game and then disappeared for weeks, and then came back last week. So could be an interesting one. I have no idea what to think. Obviously, Vegas thinks that the Chiefs are going to win this one, but I'm going to roll with the Cowboys. Cowboys at home, must-win game. get the Chiefs out of here, I don't even want to think about them anymore because they could only lose one more game and still possibly make the playoffs. I want the Chiefs out of here as quick as possible, so I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Yeah, just the way the Chiefs kind of played last week against the Colts, they were down they were down 20-9 and they came back. I get that, but I still don't trust this offense to be consistently good against all these teams. I know the Cowboys have a bad defense, but I like I said earlier, I think that Trey Smith injury is really going to make a difference. He's one of the best offensive linemen, in the NFL when he's healthy. And I think if I'm the Cowboys, um, I bring pressure to that side and keep doing it until they block you up um and beat you in that way. And
Yeah.
so I think Dak Prescott and George Pickens are going to have a big day again, just like they have been all season long. And I, we kind of know all we need to know about the Cowboys, but I think we're going to find out a lot about what this Chiefs team truly is this season in this game.
Yep, and we'll kind of find out what the Cowboys are because they lost to the Panthers earlier this season. They've lost to some other teams that you're just like, what are we doing here? And then they win the games like against the Eagles, where you're like, wow, okay, maybe they're good, maybe they're not. Who's to say? So both about 500 clubs, and it's just going to be an interesting one. It's a must-win game, and it's kind of playoffs week in and week out for these two teams the rest of the season. So it's an important one for both of them. I'm excited about it, but Chiefs Cowboys going to be fun. Night game on Thanksgiving, Bengals versus Ravens. At this point, I am dog tired if I didn't get a nap, and I'm probably eating more Thanksgiving food at this point and have gained 7 to 9 pounds at this point in the day. But Bengals Ravens, welcome back, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is back. Shefty and Rappaport have tweeted it out. So Joe Burrow getting lifted off of IR from the turf toe injury against the Ravens, who are also just one of the most confusing teams in the NFL. Is because they played one good game this season, maybe, and it was against the Dolphins on a Thursday night in Miami. And we're not going to give them any credit for that. And the Bengals are in games with Joe Flacco, but now you get Joe Burrow back. You get Jamar Chase back from his suspension after the spitting incident with Jalen Ramsey, alleged spitting incident. I don't know if he really did it, but he obviously did because he got suspended. Bengals Ravens nightcap for Thanksgiving. What do you think about this one?
I don't know if you saw Joe Burrow's Instagram story this morning.
Was it the Cavs? He's back.
The Cavs. Yeah. He's back with a LeBron jersey on. I thought that was funny. But do you think this might be a Bengals team that's going to come out strong, motivated? One, because Joe Burrow's back, but two, they get to effectively and maybe not end their season essentially, but do you think they come out motivated and say, you know what, we're going to beat you guys tonight on national TV and effectively try to end your season?
Yeah, I think the Bengals defense was a lot better last week against the Patriots, and they got some pressure, which they haven't really done all season long. And I know they still ended up losing, whatever. But they're 3-8. They're out of it, and bringing Joe Burrow back at this point in the season, I question that as a organizational question. But at the end of the day, Joe Burrow's a baller, and he wants to go out there and play football. And if he's available, then you let him play. I think teams always play better when they have a really good quarterback and they come back from injury. I think there's just more juice in the room. It's an away game. It's a night game in Baltimore. That's a fun situation to come in and kind of play spoiler. Obviously, the Steelers aren't that great. Aaron Rodgers is a little hurt. So the Ravens still could end up winning the division and have a home playoff game or whatever. But if the Bengals come in and win, it makes the Ravens' job a whole lot harder for the rest of the season. And I know the Bengals want to do that. I know Bengals fans want that to happen. They hate the Ravens. So yeah, I think it's a spoiler game for the Bengals because they're not playing for really anything other than just pride at this point. But you get your quarterback back, man. That means a lot for a lot of teams, and I've seen it with my team specifically. I know your team. Whenever you miss CJ Stroud for a week or two, and then he comes back, there's just a little bit of extra juice in the locker room for those guys, and I think it's going to be a fun one. And it's a good nightcap game. It's a 7:20 game on NBC and Peacock. The Ravens are favored by 7 points, which I think that's tremendously high. That's not even close to where I would have it because I don't think the Ravens are that good. I know the Bengals aren't that good, but they just almost beat the Patriots, who are 10-2 this year. And the Ravens just haven't been consistent enough for me to just kind of knock on that 7 point favor Like, I just don't see that in any way, shape, or form. So I'm gonna roll Bengals. I'm just gonna go upset city this week. I'm going upset city for Thanksgiving.
I think I'm going to go Bengals too because you know what you just talked about when your quarterback comes in comes back from an injury, it just gives that entire locker room juice. And um, you know, if this was a Bengals home game, I would have blasted the Bengals all day. You know, I think they're winning that game at home, but because it's a Ravens home game, I'm kind of iffy, but I'm still going Bengals because I'm with you. I don't think the Ravens are that dominant of a team that they have been in past years. And then the other thing is it's a division game. These two teams know each other so well. And, you know, if I'm John Harbaugh, you know, watching film this week, I don't really have a lot on this 2025 Bengals team. So I think in that aspect, the Bengals kind of have an advantage to where they can, you know, I don't know what the offense is going to look like.
I have no idea. This is a strange game, but we're both rolling Bengals. The quarterback effect nightcap. It's going to be a fun one. Grab it to us, Thanksgiving family and friends, and then we're on a Friday. We get another Black Friday game. I like the Black Friday games. I'm not going to be super in tune with this one. It's a 2 o'clock game. It's going to be towards the end of the Egg Bowl, so I'll miss the beginning of this game, and then I've got to get ready and go to a Stars game that night. Getting the press box up there for Black Friday retro night for the Stars. So tune in a clean sheet of ice. Hit that subscribe button on their new YouTube. But Friday, Black Friday, it's going to be fun. Bears, Eagles. Eagles are favored by 6.5, which I think is another crazy line because it's kind of the same thing with the Ravens. I know the Eagles keep winning games, but the Bears are winning games a lot right now, and that's a touchdown favorite, which I think is kind of crazy when they both have the same record at 8-3. So Black Friday, what you got in this game?
Man, I'm gonna go with the upset again. I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bears. Yeah, I just like how the Chicago Bears have been playing. They've, you know, talked about it a couple weeks ago. It might not look pretty between, you know, all four quarters, but at the end of the day, they're getting wins. And it's not a situation where they have a stacked roster like the Eagles do. They don't. Um, and on the other side, the Eagles, especially after that loss to the Cowboys, I just I'm not completely out on the Eagles yet, but they don't have my full trust.
No, not in any way, shape, or form. The Bears don't have my full trust either, but they have the most turnovers on defense in the NFL. Like they get picks, they get fumbles, they do all kinds of crazy stuff on defense, which allows their offense to get back out on the field and try it again. So we saw last week with the Eagles going up 21-0 and giving up that lead, that no lead is safe for the Eagles. And if they can stop the run, if they can just keep Saquon Barkley at bay and Jalen Hurts, if they can keep him at bay as well, because he had 7 for 33 last week. So if you can kind of minimize the damage on the run game, like they might be able to pass on you, but there's more mistakes to be had in the pass game than there is really in the run game for the most part against this Eagles team. And the Bears, they just keep winning games. So even when they don't think they should be, obviously they're in a dogfight with Mason Rudolph on Sunday. That not a good look, but at the end of the day, they're still 8-3, and they're kind of in control of the division. If they just keep winning, they're just going to win the division. It's crazy. They're a game up on the Packers and everybody else there and the Lions, but yeah, I think I'm just having to lean Eagles here, and they're not going to cover. 6.5 is too much. I think it's a 3-4 point game at the end of it, and I'm going to go Eagles, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's closer than what the line is right now, but I do think it's going to be a close game. And Caleb Williams, number one pick from from a couple years ago, uh, Friday night primetime game. You know, let's see what you got.
Yeah, should be a fun one. All these games have been exceptional to talk about. I'm excited to watch them. And last game that we're going to talk about, going over to Sunday, Texans, Colts, your first matchup between those two teams this season. It's a 12 o'clock game. Texans are 6-5, Colts are 8-3. Division is now within reach somehow. The Colts are 6-0 at home. They're a dome team. They like playing in a dome, but the Texans play at home in a dome. They're kind of used to it. So give us a lowdown on your team against the Colts in a division matchup.
Man, another one of these important games, you know, and somehow, some way, the Texans are, you know, technically still in the hunt for the division crown. I I don't know how, but they're still in it. It's going to be a huge game, and Stroud's first game back. We'll
Oh,
see how he looks, and
is that
man,
confirmed?
not yet, but I mean, I would have to assume that he missed 3 games. I don't think he's going to miss a fourth game.
Okay.
Um, but you never know. We'll see. We'll see later on in the week. But we're going to assume that it's Stroud's first game back.
Okay.
Um, if he has a great game, then I'm going to be the first one to say this on the podcast as a Texans fan. If the Texans get on a roll here, after they beat the Colts, hopefully, then I think this is a team that, because of their defense, I know their offense doesn't scare people, but because of their defense and how great it is, how great they've been playing. By the way, they're still number one in points allowed, which is just ridiculously insane. This is a team that nobody wants to play come December and January.
Yeah, I think the Texans defense might be the best I've seen in 10 years. Maybe like since the Legion of Boom, maybe it's just like they're on the field all the damn time, and they just keep holding teams to under 20 points, holding them under 300 yards per game. I think they lead the league in both of those categories right now. And I know Broncos fans are all over the place. They're like, no, we have the best defense. And it's because you have a better record, and that's why you think that. But the Texans, if you just gave them a semblance of an offense half the time, the defense wouldn't be on the field all the time, and they'd get even more stops. Like they'd probably allow less points if they just had more rest. They're Energizer bunnies. They keep going all game long until the very end. They get the pick against Josh Allen on Thursday night. They just do everything right. And then the Colts, obviously, we just saw the Chiefs hold Jonathan Taylor to less than 60 yards in a game, which I don't know if it has happened this season. He's been an absolute wrecking ball, almost 1,200 yards and 15 touchdowns with 200 carries. Like, if you can hold him at bay and you have to trust Daniel Jones to go win you a game, I'm putting the Texans in this one just like by far and away. Like if you can hold Jonathan Taylor at bay, hold him under 90 yards, 80 yards, like you've got a great shot at winning this game, especially if you get CJ Stroud back, having that juice in the locker room, like we just said. Getting your quarterback is going to be huge if he comes back. Even if not, like I kind of trust Davis Mills just as much as I trust Daniel Jones. And at the end of the day, he's not going against the Texans defense. Daniel Jones is going against the Texans defense. So I'm going to roll with the Texans. I love the vibes right now. It was a galvanizing game on Thursday against the Bills, and that could just be like a turning point in the season where they just keep going on a run and keep winning games and maybe steal the division out of nowhere, where we kind of called them dead after like week 5. It was a crazy moment there.
Yeah, and you talked about the Denver fans going crazy about who their best defense is. Denver does have the edge in sacks. I think they have a lot of sacks so far this season.
Sure.
But however, I will say the Texans defense, they're number one in points per game. Pretty much every other important defensive category you can think of, I believe they're like a spot or 2 spots better than the Broncos. Look, I think both of these defenses are great in what they do. The Texans defense has been doing some ridiculous things. I mean, you talked about it earlier. Like they have to deal with an offense that can't score in the red zone. The defense is on the field a lot, and they are still dominating and stopping guys every single week.
Yeah, and I love the bend don't break defenses where they get into the red zone or whatever and they only give up a field goal and stuff. It's like we're not even seeing that with the Texans very often. It's like they just stop people, and numbers don't lie. If they're number one in points and yards, they're the best team, the best defense in the league. You can't really argue against that. I know turnovers and sacks and all that kind of stuff matters, but points and yards are really what matters at the end of the day. If you're not giving up a ton of yards and you're not giving up a ton of points, you're better than everybody else. That's how it works. So I'm going to roll with Texans this week, like I said, against the Colts. The Colts just couldn't get it done against the Chiefs, and it just kind of looks like what I was talking about at our midseason awards where we were talking about Coach of the Year. And I was like, Shane Steichen could technically be in it because they win all these games and they're in the 1 seed right now for the AFC at that point. And at the end of the day, they hadn't really played anybody. And when they do play someone that's relatively decent, they didn't end up winning those games. So, yeah, I think this is another big one for the Colts. Like, if they can win this one, then it might change my opinion a little bit for a few more weeks here. But if the Texans win this one, that's another galvanizing win against a division opponent where you have another game against them, I think, too. So you can kind of flip the script and make that spiral happen for the Colts. And I think that'd be huge for the Texans. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I think this game, we're like division wise, we're gonna find out a lot about each team. Um, I'm gonna go Texans here. I think their defense is gonna play well. Um, if they can find a way to limit Jonathan Taylor and just get after Daniel Jones, I have a hard time believing defensively that the Colts will be able to do a whole lot against this defense. And then to me, this game's gonna come down to offensively who can take advantage of their opportunities in the red zone. I believe the Texans are like 31st or 32nd when it comes to scoring in red zone. So
That's tough.
they, if they can be better than that just by a little bit, I think they're going to win this game. And again with this Texans team, it's just they're they're going to make you play their nasty, dirty, mucky brand of football every single week. We saw that in the Thursday night against the Bills. The Bills just they couldn't do anything that they wanted to do, and it frustrated Josh Allen. And if they can do that against Daniel Jones and make him make a couple mistakes, I think this Texans team can get on a roll.
I could see it happening. But it's Thanksgiving week. Enjoy the turkey time. Enjoy the family and friends time on Thanksgiving, Black Friday, all weekend long with college football rivalry and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be a good weekend of football, and we're going to be back on Monday. So obviously this episode's going out on Wednesday, recorded on Monday. So we don't know any of the injury stuff. Obviously with CJ Stroud and some other guys. But other than that, I think it's going to be a really fun weekend of football. So enjoy it. Enjoy the time with your family. And also enjoy Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. Have one on Thursday. Get ready. Start cooking. All that kind of stuff with the Zing Zang. Zang responsibly all season long. And shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PATNFL. Play your first $5. Get $100 in bonus entries using our promo code PATNFL with Underdog Fantasy. Thank you for sponsoring this episode. Kush, thanks for hopping on with us. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone that listens to this, watches it. Give us a subscribe on YouTube at Apollo HOU or wherever you get Play Action Takes on audio platforms like Apple and Spotify. We also have video there on Spotify if you want to watch us there. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. This has been Play Action Takes, Apollo Media's NFL podcast.
Happy Thanksgiving.